to the Dental Diaries podcast. This is Dr. Jessica Emery, and today I am talking to Dr. Connie Wang. I am so excited. We've got a Tufts student in the house. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be on a podcast from a Tufts alumni.
Yay! I know we were just talking about this before I hit record, that I went to Tufts as well a long time ago, but I don't know that much. Well, actually, a lot has changed since I've been there.
I feel like a lot of renovations,
yes.
But the people are all the same. I assure you, a lot of the people are still here.
Really? That's amazing. Yeah. I usually get back to Boston once a year. When I do my trip home, I always get a picture in front of the Tufts building. That's just like something I like to do, and usually go inside. And when we went this past year, they were doing that construction, that renovation in the front, and it was like locked. I don't know if we were over there on a Sunday or something, but it just was not open at all, so we couldn't get in.
Yeah, we just got like a brand new lobby. It's good to see now where my tuition is going. It's really all that new lobby. It's beautiful though, and you know that's like really part of the appeal. I remember at my interview at Tufts, like the doors open, and I just felt like Tufts was just so sparkly and exciting to me. So I feel like they're really, like they still improve on the building and everything like that.
It's such a sparkly. It's a really good. I loved the energy there too. I love where it is in Boston, like in the city. And
yeah.
Just, I don't know. Boston was one of my favorite places. So you're from Rhode Island originally.
Yes.
And you did. Yep. So let's like go back because we always like take it from the beginning. And I was just watching your YouTube. You've got a fabulous YouTube channel and you have so much fabulousness like for us to talk about, but can we start like where it started, which was basically you deciding to go to pharmacy school?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So take it all the way back. The year is, oh gosh, I actually forgot the year, but baby Connie is 18 years old. And so, when I was in high school, I kind of always knew I wanted to work in the healthcare field. I always had this like instinct that I wanted to care for people. I wanted to make them feel better. But when you're 18, there's not really that much that you know about yourself yet. Like that was it. That's all I knew about what I wanted from a career. So I didn't quite necessarily know what that meant on paper, what it looked like. So at the time, I was applying to colleges, of course, and my parents both work at the University of Rhode Island, which is my state school. So it became apparent that the best financial option for me, period, would be to go to the University of Rhode Island, which in hindsight, I'm so thankful that I did, but at the time I was kind of like a bratty teenager. I was like, I want to go to like far, I want to go to California, see the world, of course. But I ended up, sticking with the University of Rhode Island, and they have an accelerated pharmacy program that is known to be like one of the best in the country and really impressive, yada, yada, yada. So it was just kind of a no-brainer for me. Like I just knew that I would end up going to pharmacy school there. So the accelerated program is basically you get accepted straight out of high school. They somehow decide that you know what you're doing when you're in high school. So I was accepted straight out of high school. I did 2 years of undergrad, and then you don't have to take the PCAT, which is like the DAT basically. You don't have to take that. You just go straight into pharmacy school, which is 4 more years, 6 years total. So I kind of just went with the flow this whole time because if you can imagine, I was 18. I was like, you know what? Sure, pharmacists, like, they're part of the healthcare team. And then, of course, I loved college because it's college. And I had a great time meeting my friends and, like, learning about, all of the prereqs. But I think I was very caught up in, like, just following through. I had tunnel vision that I didn't really stop and ask myself, like, is this the right career for me? And it was kind of like I never really chose that path. I just, like, went along with it. So after, that was a very long-winded intro, but after my first year of pharmacy school, I even knew then it just didn't feel right in my gut. But still, it was too early on where like I didn't quite know how to place why it didn't feel right. I just knew I wasn't excited about it. So I was really burnt out my first year of pharmacy school. If you can imagine, it was just like a lot of courses that I wasn't passionate about. Like I said, I kind of felt like a fish out of water because all my other classmates were loving what they were learning. Meanwhile, in my head, when we learned about certain, disease states, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then they'd talk about the drugs and I'd be like, oh, someone else can deal with that. And then I think one day I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I think I'm supposed to be that person.
Sure.
So then that summer break after first year, like I said, I was kind of just trying to like process what had happened that year. And one way that I really like to cope is through arts and crafts. So I remember doing a lot of arts and crafts that summer, and I kind of started to think like, man, I really wish that there was a career where you could do arts and crafts, but also in like a healthcare setting where you help people feel better, do that nurturing that I've always looked for. In hindsight, this is a kind of a funny detail, but when I was a kid, I actually wanted to go to art school. I was always like just this artistic, creative kid, but I also felt a little empty with that because I felt sometimes like when I would create something, I was like, okay, well, this is nice, but like, what good did I really do? So now that I'm where I am, I can kind of see it's like the perfect combination of like art but with meaning, or like healthcare but with art. Yeah.
Love it.
So then I really started to put together the pieces. I was like, well, my brother-in-law, his name is Mike. He actually graduated from Tufts Dental also.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, yeah. So I was kind of like, I'm kind of similar to Mike in the sense that he loves using his hand skills. He is a fantastic painter. And I was kind of like, well, if Mike likes dentistry, then maybe I would like dentistry too. And it was like a very slow but also sudden realization. I was like, maybe this is it for me. But it was also kind of scary because I was like, well, darn, now that means that I'm already like 1 year into a program that like I don't know if I want to stay in.
Right.
So I consulted Mike, and his advice to me was that I should really take the time to think about it because, as you know, dental school is no joke.
No,
The cost of pursuing
tuition, yeah.
dentistry is so much. So he was like, you should really take the time to think about it, even though it sounds super attractive to just drop out of pharmacy school and then start pursuing pre-dental. He was like, give it time. And luckily, because attending the pharmacy program was so financially advantageous for me, it would be okay for me to continue with the pharmacy program.
Because it gave you
So
sciences, right? Yeah.
exactly. So then basically my second and third year of pharmacy school, I would like go to pharmacy school and then I would actually work as I started out shadowing my dentist at home because he's wanted me to be a dentist since I was like 5. Like I think I was in his chair with like light up Sketcher shoes and he was like, you should be a dentist. And then back then I was like,
That's so
no, I don't like
funny.
the sound of the drill.
How
Yeah.
much older is your brother?
So my brother-in-law is about 10 years older than me.
10. Okay, so he was already like way already
Yeah.
practicing. And did he live near you or no?
So he at the time he and my sister actually lived in Hawaii. So they're actually there right now.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but well, so I misspoke. So they're actually there in Hawaii now, but at the time he was still around in the Massachusetts area. So I was able to right away shadow him,
Okay.
once I had the idea that I might want to pursue dentistry. So that
Uh-huh.
was kind of like my first foot in the door. I shadowed him. And then, I mean, there's only so much you can really grasp when you're shadowing. So
Sure.
then I was like, well, what's the next step? So I mentioned that I wanted to pursue dentistry to my dentist. And then he was like, I'll train you in-house as a dental assistant,
Of course.
which was so amazing. He had so much trust in me. Looking looking back, I'm like, wow, he had a lot of trust in me.
You know what? For
Um,
those of you that have passion, I had an intern this summer and she rocked the
mhm.
house. Like I
Oh.
adore her. I was just like, when are you graduating? Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's so
So good
sweet.
because you come in hungry and like passionate to learn. There's nothing
Mhm.
better than to
Yeah, and I feel like also you guys make the dentists, I mean, make such great teachers because this is really like a craft. So you guys just have so much to share about like techniques and like, the way that you like to practice.
well, it definitely could have been an apprenticeship. I mean, let's be real. Without the tuition, I mean, it is a
I
craft.
know.
A billion
Oh my
percent. You
gosh.
don't use all
Mhm.
of like the pharmaceuticals. Like really, you can look that stuff up if you need it.
Exactly.
But
Right, right.
it's amazing. So way back when they did that, I get why. Um,
Yeah, 100%.
you know,
Yeah, so I was assisting my dentist while I was finishing pharmacy school, and then I felt like doing both careers at the same time really affirmed that I love dentistry so much because during the day I would have to, put up, well, I say put up, but I I had to go through pharmacy school and kind of I figured out what I didn't like about it, and then I would pop into the dental office and then realize everything I loved about that. And so I think it's really important in life to understand both what you want to do, but also what you don't want to do so you can stay away from it, you know?
well, yeah, let's back that up. Gut is huge.
Mhm.
Like listening to
Yeah.
your gut told you way back, but it's okay because you were so young. Like you had plenty of time to ride that out. Um,
Mhm.
and like you said, it was a good thing. All the stars aligned with that. Like you said, the tuition, it wasn't like that was wasted per se. You got
Right.
skill set, the sciences, everything you needed. You matured, so you knew solidly that's what you wanted, which was amazing. But
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge, like, my gut, I listen to on everything. And I mean, it never leads
Of
to
course.
regret, ever. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, no, honestly, I feel like that's a huge part of growing up that I wish that maybe they could prepare us better for, like when we're in school and stuff,
Yeah.
is not like memorizing things for school, but like learning, like training yourself how to listen to your gut. Because it was so clear to me in hindsight, but sometimes like when you're younger, you just don't know how to like lean into that, and how to listen to it.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate that I finally listened when I did, when my gut was finally screaming at me.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
More mature. I mean, and I think you need to be in order to handle such a rigorous, schedule. I mean, dental school is tough. I mean, as you know,
Mhm.
because I mean, I took a gap year. I took a gap year after college, undergrad, and assisted, and then
Mhm.
went to dental hygiene school, practiced, and then went to dental school. So I was like
Right.
later, but I was so ready, right? Because I had made up my mind.
Mhm.
Like I knew that's where I wanted to be, and so I was all in with that. And like you
Mhm.
have to be all in because when your friends are out eating sushi on a Friday night and drinking martinis,
Right.
you're in the growth lab, and it sucks
Mhm.
sometimes. But
Yeah.
when you know, like I said, in your gut that that's what you want to do and that's where you want to be, it makes it so much easier. You know?
100%. I kind of equate it to like when you pull back an arrow, right? That's kind of what I felt like when I was in pharmacy school because I just had like this burning feeling to like do what I want to do and I felt like I was so stuck. So going through pharmacy school really affirmed that so that way when you could finally like, release the arrow, I feel like now I have laser focus. I am so determined and like, yeah, obviously I have a lot of nights where I'm like, man, I can't believe I have to like study for X, Y, and Z. Not once do I ever question my motives. It's more like it helps me cope with it now because I know like my focus and my goals.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's amazing what I found through so many women and talking to them is that the creativity part comes into play for everybody. I mean, same for me. I did art as a kid. I loved it.
Hmm.
That's my coping thing too. I was in a conference
Yeah.
and somebody in the Facebook group did, they're like, oh, I take my notes in drawings. I was like, screenshot, screenshot. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a color. And like the drawings just spoke my love language. And it's so much
Yeah. Yeah.
me to digest. Um,
Hmm.
I love that too. And crafting teeth, like I had made my mom, I think, in Girl Scouts because my mom was a dentist that graduated from Tufts too. We were the first
Uh-huh.
daughter to ever graduate from Tufts.
No
Um,
way. That's so
yes, and she
funny.
surprised me on stage to give me my diploma. So
Oh,
it
that's
was kind of a big
adorable.
deal back then. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
my
amazing.
gosh.
Like lots of father sons, but there had not to that point been a mother daughter.
Yeah, that's actually so true. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I,
that was
I feel like now at our White Coat ceremony, there's so many like father, daughter, or father, son, everyone's like coding everyone.
of
But
course.
yeah, wow.
Yeah, no, which is so great. But like in Girl Scout 1,000 years ago, whenever that was, not to date me or anything, but just dated me. I made her like with clay a little model of a mouth with all of the teeth, the exact number of teeth on the
Oh my
bottom
gosh, you knew there were 32?
with anatomy, like anatomy. I'm gonna send you a screenshot. I'm not kidding. When I get back to the office on
Please
Wednesday,
do.
the cutest, all little white teeth. They've got little mamelons and cusps
Oh my
and they're all
gosh.
in this little, it's a denture, and I inscribed my name on the bottom of it. And this is way before, it was only because my mom was a dentist that I
Hmm.
think I made it. But meanwhile, I feel like somewhere inside, like, it was like my destiny ultimately. Anyway,
Yeah, that's so adorable. Oh my God, I hope you keep that forever.
I know it's actually in my practice, but it wasn't something that I thought I ever wanted to do. My mother never said, "Why don't you think this would be a great career for you?" She just said, "Follow your heart,
Hmm.
do what you love." And it wasn't until it was like a fraternity party in college where I met and he was drinking. He's like, "I'm pre-dent." I'm like, just the conversation that we started having, where he was just like, "Yeah, well, this is just the easy path for me." Because his dad was a dentist, he was stepping into that.
Oh, I see.
Just clicked for me, 3 beers
That
in.
is so funny. Oh my gosh. See, you know what? This is why frat parties are still important.
Yes, socializing, right? It is because you know what? Proximity is everything. And
Right. Yeah.
it really is. And it's so amazing when you go into life like eyes wide open and I know you're young yet, but when you reflect, it's like, oh my gosh, you see like certain people were there at the right times
Yeah.
for the right reasons.
Yeah,
And
life is so serendipitous like that. It's really crazy.
it is. I know. I love
Yeah.
it so much. But the thing is, so you're a second year. So fast
Mhm.
forward, you find Tufts, Sparkly Tufts, like loved it, decided to attend. Where are you living in the city?
So I started out living really close by the school actually. First year I lived in Chinatown.
Okay, super close.
Yeah, and that was an interesting experience. I enjoyed being close by at first because I think it was really nice, popping into school whenever, going into gross lab. But since then, my boyfriend and I have moved a little bit out of the city now. So yeah.
Okay. I saw that,
Yeah.
Jimmy, right? You have a
Yeah,
boyfriend.
yeah.
The
Yes,
If you
Jimmy.
want to see her entire story, you'll have to go to her YouTube channel, which we'll be talking about in a bit. Um, but there was a Q&A. You were talking about your boyfriend, so I heard the backstory to that, which is really
Yeah.
fun. Um,
Oh yeah. Yes, it's so funny. It's like another party story.
yes, you have so many stories. Oh my gosh, I don't have time to cover them all. So are you commuting in then? Are you?
Yes. Well, so right now we're actually virtual
That's my other
until
question.
January. Yes. Yeah. We're well, first and second years are virtual.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm really craving that. Like sim lab, I really miss that experience.
I know. So again, not to date me, but I am so dated. They had just put the sim lab in when I was graduating. We were like the
Oh
first.
my God, no way.
Now it's probably been like, I mean, it is part of the curriculum, and then some. You guys probably also are getting to do CAD CAM too.
Yeah, well, you know what? If it makes you feel any better though, we're still most of the time stuck in pre-clin where there's like no running water, there's like barely like the air hose sometimes doesn't even work. Um yeah, like we're kind of split sometimes. Well, back before Corona, we were pretty much split between pre-clin and sim-clin because the third and fourth years needed sim-clin to practice for like their boards or,
Right.
practice for things when they weren't in clinic.
Sure.
So us first and second years are still stuck in like that room that's been around since like the dawn of time.
Yes, I know. That's why
Yeah.
I've always loved, like I said, going back, going upstairs to where you sit, right? Because that looks the same as it always has. Um,
Yeah, it's like those rows and stuff, and then it's like this like auditorium kind of thing, and then there's like windows behind you.
yeah, the
Yeah,
auditorium that brings back, like my heart starts to race. I remember taking exams in there. Oh,
that's so funny.
my weather was
PTSD.
and
Yeah.
elevators. Although, like, I don't know. I can't wait to go back when, like I said, post, yeah, Corona, when things change. And sometimes I forget, like, I'm
Mhm.
talking to you and I almost forgot for a second, even though I was like, life is so different now
I
with
know, I know.
everything. I mean, we've been back to practice for so long now that I don't know, 2 weeks prior to when Chicago, at least Illinois, opened up June 1st.
Mhm.
So I just feel like nothing's changed there. Like, yeah, as far as practicing,
Yeah, right.
our patients are still virtual. Like their businesses, they're working. Most of them are working from home. Some till the end of the year. Some for the entire year.
Oh,
Um,
wow, entire year,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. Some have made that call already. So it's so crazy. Yeah, it's just still so crazy. I don't know how
I
you.
know, I have a lot of friends. So I have a lot of friends that are also like working in healthcare, and for them, it's like the same thing. They've been like working, like my pharmacist friends have been working this whole time. So
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, there's a pandemic, but they're not even aware that like,
right,
life has really changed that much.
right.
And then like my dentist friends, yeah, like you said, they've kind of been going back to normal since like earlier June.
Yeah,
So yeah, if you work in healthcare, it's kind of like business as usual, but like maybe, even more if you work in like ERs and that kind of thing.
of course. No, it's totally been
Yeah.
business as usual. Like back to the norm. Not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I loved having the downtime to just like because we exchange time for money, in our businesses, and it's so
Mhm.
rewarding and we love it. But when you're a creative, and I know you're one too, I'm such a multi-passionate creative that I loved having time to produce content and show up and impact and do those things that when I'm
Mhm.
practicing and my hands are in the mouth, I'm not able to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so nice having that free time. It's kind of like sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's a lot because I feel a lot of pressure because I'm like, "Oh, I should be like making this new thing or I should,
Yeah,
wait, it's almost like now that we're virtual for school, at least since everything is virtual, it's like there's no line between personal and like professional life anymore. I'm just like constantly doing stuff.
right. Did you
Yeah.
start? So you have so many things. I mean, first of all, we found each other on Instagram, like most of my amazing, amazing podcast guests. and I love your page. Everyone needs to go follow the Pharma Dental. But I mean, you're so freaking funny. Like the healthcare horoscopes, I was dying. Like,
Oh my God, I'm so glad you enjoyed those.
it's so fun. I love a good horoscope, and that was just
Me
so
too.
funny and fun to like bring that in. But how did you? So you're an intern, so second year at Tufts, dental
Mhm.
student, you know, pharmacist, but like you're an intern at Coca Floss, which is one of our favorite flosses. All of you out there listening, I know Coca Floss. If you don't, I don't know what planet you've been on, because Coca
Yeah.
Floss is the floss. We love it. But they're in California, so how did you connect with them?
Yeah, so it was kind of
And how are you doing
uh
while you're and running a YouTube
yeah,
and an
oh
Instagram?
my gosh. It's, you know what? You out of everyone would understand, if not more, because like you totally get the like double life grind. It's definitely a lot, but basically inside I kind of always knew that I wanted to work in like a startup type environment ever since I was like in high school even. I just like loved learning about like new businesses and growing, scaling businesses. But I was also very passionate about healthcare, so I like didn't really know how to incorporate that. And then I remember seeing Coco Floss when I first decided to become dental. I just thought it was so cool. It was like, it was almost turning floss into what like face masks are, because it's just like makes floss exciting and like a fun experience, and it really feels like self-care. So in my head, I was like, wow, I'm like really jealous of this company. Like I want to work here. It's so cool. But at the time I was, just like a little pre-dental student. So I was like, well, there's nothing I can really do. Like I will just support the company from afar. And then I think after 2020, this year, I was really like back in the early 2020. I was like, this is my year, right? Like this is gonna be a great year.
I know
um,
everybody's saying the
so
same thing.
I know. So back when I was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about 2020, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really go for it, and I put Coco Floss on my vision board for 2020. Did you make vision boards? I'm sure that you make vision
Yes,
boards,
of
right?
course.
Yes, you seem like so vision boardy, and I love this.
I love it. Manifestation.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so 100%. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put that on there. Maybe that means I'll do a giveaway with them. And then I remember just kind of feeling this urge and being like, I just want to see what the company is about from behind the scenes. And I love the product so much that I really want to help them. I'm the type of person where if I'm really motivated to work, I will like 100% give it my all. And like for a while, I feel like I've been in rotations and jobs where like I haven't felt that passion to want to give it my all. And then when I found Coco Floss, it almost felt as if like Coco Floss was my own company. Like I care so much about Coco Floss that I wanted to pour myself into it. And
Love
so I knew that that was so special. I'm like, if I care about this enough as if it's my own company, then I think I would, really provide a lot of benefit for them. So I kind of just like pitched myself a quick little like elevator pitch type Instagram message to them. Um, and at first, no response because I'm sure that they're busy. And then I think I followed up again a couple weeks later. And then they were like, oh, hi. Yeah, we would love to hear from you. Like, just a generic follow up email, because they have a lot of people that want to work with them. So then I was like, okay. So they gave me an email. And then I emailed them my resume and another like lengthier kind of pitch type of, paragraph. And I was like, okay, I can't mess this up now because I have my foot in the door. I just need to like wedge it a little wider. So then I just kept, finding ways that I could help them, I guess. Like, for example, I said, I would be like a valuable asset as a dental student. And like with my position in like the dental Instagram world, I would love to help them with the influencer side, help them with like more brand awareness to students. Also, I've like done a lot of work with like media and that kind of stuff, even on my pharmacy rotations. So I kind of just leveraged anything possible that I thought could help me help them.
amazing.
And then, yeah, it was just after that a series of calls with different people. And then, I met with the founders, Kat and Chris, and then the rest is history.
That's so great. Well, of course, if you get to them, like, yeah, history for sure. That's
Yeah, yeah, it was really great though.
so. How much time, like, are you putting in there with school? Like, how does that kind of happen? Are you, because it's not like influencer marketing. You're doing more than that. You're like on the inside from afar.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, so how the reason why I like being intern is because I'm not really tied to just one position. On paper, I'm technically their dental marketing intern, but I feel like what's great is I get to help them from like all different angles. If I think of like a funny idea, I'll just mention it. Or if I think of a cool Instagram post, I'll mention it to the social media person.
Or video.
But I also sit in on like the operations type meetings, and I feel like I can really like wear multiple hats with this type of position, which is why it's great working part-time with school. So right now I only work like 12 or so hours a week, but this past summer I worked full-time for 6 weeks, and that kind of gave me the foundation to like
How
know
good
how
is
to work.
that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like getting the business, because one thing is everyone knows, like listening, everyone knows this, we've made this clear, like dentists are creatives for the most part. We are not business people. And that is
Hmm.
the one big thing that is lacking, that is not taught in school because there's not enough time for it, but it's so important. And
Right.
I work with dentists, kind of why dentistry sometimes is a mess with that, when it comes to numbers, because our overhead is so high, and like I said, we
Hmm.
just kind of jump in and run. But for you to be able to have exposure and experience to, like you said, a really cool company behind the scenes that's running, and I mean, wow, that's just incredible. Like for you.
Yeah. I'm just so lucky that they, saw the value in me and were able to like take a chance on me, and like that just speaks to the type of company they are. Kat and Chris are just so welcoming, and it's very friendly. It doesn't feel corporate in the slightest. It's
No,
very like I've always felt like my voice, was able to be heard, which is
yeah,
really great and really
yeah,
encouraging.
they're amazing, and they have scaled. I mean, it's incredible what they have done for sure, but it's also incredible what you did. And so if anyone can learn from that, is being tenacious. And when you have a goal, or again in your gut, if you feel like that's something that's calling you, like don't give up on it. You
Mhm.
gotta keep like,
100%.
right? Because that first instant, you could have been like, oh, they didn't see it, that first DM, right? Like, oh,
Right.
people are busy. Same thing with my inbox. Like all of a sudden later, I'll be like, oh, I didn't even see this. Like somehow it got buried,
Yeah,
like brilliant
exactly.
like that. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm sorry. Like bringing you to the book. Like I did say like this post would go up, and whatever. I don't know. It's just in such a disruption society economy today. It's like,
Mhm.
everyone, just time is not on our side.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I have to emphasize to anyone that's listening, really, it's you have to make your own opportunities. Like Coco
Yeah.
Floss was not looking for someone, but I like found a way to be what I thought they would need. Like
Yes.
it is all up to you to present yourself to be what they need. And
Yes.
like the way that I approach everything that I apply for is you just have to be so good that they like can't say no. Like I was like, this is something that I know that I'd be good at, and I know that like you guys might need me.
Yeah.
Which like, sometimes it's just like boldly saying that, and like, you can have all the insecurities you want or something. Like sometimes I was like, oh, like I don't have a marketing degree, why would they choose me? But you just have to like blindly be so confident in yourself. I'm like, no, I can figure this out and I can deliver even more. Like it doesn't matter that I don't have a marketing degree or business
Right.
degree, whatever.
You know what's so cool about this, and this is what I speak to with dentists that don't get it. They
Hmm.
do. It's like banging my head against a wall to try to let dentists know about your brand, and to make sure that you brand yourself. Because guess what? All they have to do is look at your Instagram page through those little like squares to get to know who you are, and whether
Hmm.
or not you resonate with their brand.
Right. That's
And
so true.
me, if I looked at you immediately, I'd be like, "Yep, check." Billion%. But if I were trying to
um,
find you and you didn't have an Instagram, and like maybe even
yeah.
Facebook, forget it. Like that we wouldn't align, right?
Right. It's like that thing with manifesting where like you have to show the universe that you're like ready to accept everything. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, hello universe, I'm like ready to work with Dr. Emery and I'm ready to work with Coco Floss. Like so I'm projecting that, that we align.
Yes. No, absolutely. And like you said, to your point too, is and then going after that, because the intern I had this summer too, I've had many people ask and never really done it, but the one that did ask me, Campbell, who was so amazing, I even took
Hmm.
her under my wing and took her to Denver to a branded photo shoot. So she also got to be part of Dental Soiree, and and Sugar Fix. Like so she as well, like you are doing with Coco Floss, got to be behind the scenes with my creative, company.
Yeah, that is so cool. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of her. If I'm
Yeah,
ever in Chicago, I want to come see you.
definitely. I would love that. I know. And if I'm in Boston, I'll have to DM you too once I
Yes, yeah, please
there.
do.
We,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, but because she as well, like we just aligned. I don't know. She kept asking too. And then she like stopped in. And sometimes, when people like send something special, somehow you get your foot in.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
it's so interesting too, because it's bringing me back to the one marketing. People always say, oh, how do you market? And I'm like, it's just social, I'm fee for service, 100% collection up front. Like, I don't do marketing other than, social media, with the exception of this billboard that's on the
Mhm.
L platform. And we don't have any solicitors. Like, I don't even schedule meetings with them, just as a fee for service practice, my experience is everything. So people just, stay on the outside. But I had one guy that came, and he had called, he had emailed, he wasn't getting through. So like, he came over with this big box of cookies and just said, listen, like, will you just drop these for her at the front? And they were smiley face, big frosted smiley face cookies. And I was like,
Oh
okay,
my god.
you had me at hello. What are you selling? Let's talk. And he
That's
pushed
so
himself through the
funny.
door. And now fast forward 14 years later, I've been grandfathered into that platform where they only work with like really big companies now. I'm the only like
Oh
mini
wow.
little business that they've kept up there. But that has been like my number one for the neighborhood source of referring, like bringing people in, because they see me on the L, they're on their phone, they're looking down, they're like, oh, well, I'm waiting. Let me just check this office out. I haven't had my teeth cleaned or whatever. And then when they're walking
Yeah.
at night, like I said, then they see the pink and white striped sign where they just saw like me on the L, and then it triggers something where, like I said, they end up becoming a patient, which is really cool.
That's so amazing. You just never know like what's gonna like come your way sometimes.
If we hadn't pushed like to do that, like everything, could have been different. But like I said, sometimes just
Yeah.
don't, if you really feel like that's supposed to be, like I said, somewhere you're supposed to be, or someone you're supposed to be working with or something, do something a
Mhm.
little extra special to show up, be different,
Right.
because then you'll be noticed. And
Exactly. I love that quote, "Show up like you're meant to be there."
yes,
That's,
love
like,
that.
kind of how I, like, approach life, because it's like you just have to put yourself out there, you know?
Yes, billion percent, and be okay with, this is something that's so interesting when it comes to dentistry as well, and you with like farm and then moving to dentistry too. Like, it's also okay in life. Like, your gut is so important, and pivots are okay, and no matter
Mhm.
where you are in your life, like, you can't stay stuck. You need to follow wherever, because like I said, life is too short, and it's such a gift of this like ebb and flow. Just flow.
Right. Yeah, exactly, and I feel like sometimes your own mind can be, like, your best friend and your worst enemy because, like, my mind sometimes it's great because I come up with, like, all these amazing ideas or, it's what helped me decide, like, "Oh, maybe I could switch from pharmacy to dentistry." But at the same time, a lot of times I feel like my own insecurities in my mind really hold me back, and I
Yeah.
have to realize that, like, sometimes the only thing separating me between, like, where I am right now and where I want to be is simply just like my mind, and I need to like learn to turn that side off, and lean into like the other positive side.
Mindset is everything. I actually just saw your post, and I don't know to whom you were speaking to, but we did a podcast with Jessica Metcalf, and she talks all about the imposter syndrome. And I saw somewhere
Mhm.
in a post quickly, I think you were speaking to someone's post about that, because that is something
Yeah.
real that so many women do struggle with. Um,
Mhm.
and learning, like I said, to just flip, right? Push that side down, and
Mhm.
to try to like, stay positive and know that you can,
Yeah.
and just keep moving
It's
forward.
It's definitely not the kind of thing that you can, like, fix overnight. I still work on it I feel like every single morning, it's, like, a new challenge. I, like, see someone else's post, and I'm like, "Oh, man, I wish I could, like, do pictures that cool," or, like, I see someone else something. It's so easy to compare yourself on social media. That's, like, kinda what social media is, like, all about sometimes. But
It must be age, because I look at you, because this is the thing with me, and maybe it's that I have too many accounts, right? I have too many accounts that I'm working, but I think it's age as well. That it's just like blinders
Mhm.
on, like none of that matters to me. But in speaking to so many women, I hear the same thing, and I look at
Mhm.
you, and I think, oh my gosh, like you are amazing. I love.
Oh.
I could get lost in your page like a rabbit hole and go down it for hours.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, thank
and like
you.
I said, time isn't on my side, because I would love to do that. But I think it's brilliant what you're doing, and you just keep doing you, because it's incredible. And you are,
Oh.
oh my gosh, let's talk about it. Like fashion. Okay, first of all, you have a YouTube channel. Okay, I want to know, because I know how hard it is to make videos with
Oh my
thumbnails
gosh.
and edit. Been there, done it. Tried to outsource it. Like, oh my gosh, how are you being an intern? being a dental student, running your Instagram, like doing, and your videos are good. Like they
Oh
are
my gosh,
fun, they are
really?
creative, they're amazing.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me coming from you because I am like such a fangirl. So this is like a very out of body experience for me right now to hear all these things.
Gosh, no, like I was watching it and like I said, it's hard to grab someone's attention on a video and keep them there and want to make
Mhm.
them come back for more. Like, how did
Yeah.
you learn how to do all that?
I think what it comes down to in terms of like balancing all this and doing this, it's you just have to really love what you do because like I just really make like no excuses for myself, I guess, because I love YouTube so much, but I also love, going to dental school and then I also love being an intern. I think like I mean you out of everyone has
Thank
proven
you.
like you can do whatever you want like to set your mind to if it's
Yes,
a priority. So
right.
it's really just about like throwing yourself into only the things that you care about and like none of the other filler stuff.
Yes, no, being multi-passionate, totally get it. But with that being said, it doesn't leave a lot of time to be looking at what everyone else is doing either.
I know. See, I really need to keep that in mind. Can I just like call you daily? You can just like remind
Yes,
me.
DM. No, because I am like your biggest like cheerleader for that because I just
Thank
think
you.
it's so insane what you're doing, like talking. So on your YouTube channel, you talk about
Mhm.
like what you eat, behind the scenes, wardrobe, how to take notes, interviewing things like I mean, all of the things that I would think any aspiring uh, young woman that wants to go to dental school or someone in dental school or even like a dentist, like it was fun for me even to like reflect, look at that kind of stuff. Uh,
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me because I feel like growing up when I was watching people on YouTube, I felt like I mean that was even before like influencers were fully where they are now, but I never felt like I fully resonated with a lot of them because I always knew I wanted to go into healthcare and so I was like, yeah, like all these fashion videos and cooking videos are cool, but where are the people studying? Where are the people like, crying over like poor test grades, that kind of stuff.
right.
And so it's really cool. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate about what I do is because I want to show up for like the little versions of me out there that are watching and thinking like, I'm not good enough to do dental school because like no one else I see out there is struggling or I like can't do this. Like I want to show them that like struggles, failures, and like fun things too, like fashion and cooking and things on the side are all part of the journey. Like you don't have to just focus on dentistry.
No, and like attracts like, and the way I look at it all, I mean, because I gosh, I want it all too. I like I said, YouTube channel. I've got this huge Vimeo account. I've got videos for years. Like,
Hmm. You
but
have two different podcasts, like
oh my gosh, but I would love to step in. I know, and then Girl Gang, I have this huge vision for
yeah, you have
Girl
Girl
Gang.
Gang,
I mean,
Soiree,
right?
Sugar Fix.
It's white hot.
Yeah, yeah, White Hot.
Yeah, that's why I'm moving the online style stock photography like into this new membership through Dental Spray. I'm trying to like bring things together to
You totally can too, though, because
yeah,
that's what I love about how you work is your brand is so you. Like you have like 10 different things, but all of them like you shine through. So like I can totally see you being able to integrate all of them together.
thanks. I'm slowly trying, but the one thing like I have been missing that you're doing that I would love to do, and maybe it's just with kids and all the businesses, my life's like a little messy in that way right now, which life is messy anyway. But like I
Hmm.
want to dive deep with the YouTube. I want to start
Yeah,
through that because people say that all the time, like, how do you do what you do? And I'm like, it's just life, right? You just like pour in
yeah.
and it, like I said, it's not perfect. Um, but the way I look at content like that is it is my story. And sometimes, like I said, so I used to journal growing up, like from when I was 9 on, I used to keep journals. So I have like 50 journals from from all of those years that I broke up
Oh,
in, by the way, like because my daughter that's 10, I was like, let's go and see what I was doing at 10. I was like, oh, let's not read this page.
you're like, never mind.
18.
Yeah.
It was all like Jess loves Kev, true love forever. Jess loves
Oh my
early.
god.
Like I was definitely a boy lover really
Me
early.
too. I was so crazy, like boy crazy. It's so embarrassing.
Yes. And so I'm like, gosh, is Paige like thinking, because she talks to me about this like little Wayne guy and then this Jonathan. I'm like, where is she in her head?
Ooh.
But I was super too, so we talk about those things. But I think you know, now what this is it's still me documenting my journey. And like I said, people don't have to show up and they don't have to watch it all, but it's my legacy I'm leaving. The way I look at that for my kids and future generations of just me moving through life.
Yeah.
And so versus like having to create something, because you can get so caught up in your head if you're trying to curate it and think, you know, think about like what you want to do. Just do what you're doing. And like I said, people
Right.
start showing up because people are in the same place. Or like I said, it resonates with some. And like I said, it won't be everyone, and
100%.
that's totally okay.
Yeah, and I feel like, to even go back to what you were saying where, you have a lot going on and like life is messy. The thing is, people are nosy. People want to see that.
Right.
And I think that
True.
you would do so well on YouTube because like on paper it's like we see all of your amazing brands, all of your amazing companies. I would love to just see how you do it all. Like, do you eat dinner? Like I want to see what you eat for dinner because I want to know that you eat dinner. Like that's crazy to me.
God, it's so crazy, but and I think it's like really fun and interesting. And there are some I can't share, but there are some major pivots happening in my life since
Yeah,
COVID. And that's
sure.
probably when I'm going to start documenting. But people are going to be like, "Whoa!" And people are going to be like, "Shit!" But it's so it's so it goes back to your gut and following your
Mhm.
gut and next chapters. Yes. So to life and all of that stuff, I just, yeah, think that, you know, like I said, wherever you're at, just do whatever, like I said, is, you know, calling you at that time for sure. Is your boyfriend
Mhm.
Jimmy in pharmacy?
Yes. So he and I met in pharmacy school. He is currently working as a clinical psych pharmacist at a hospital here in Boston. But yeah, he's working part time. So he's working full time, but part time virtual, and then part time he has to go in. So he's
That's
kind of
awesome.
living that like double life. Yeah.
You guys somehow coordinated it to both be in Boston.
Yeah. Well, I was really lucky because, well, when I say I was really lucky, it's because he's madly in love with me. But he has always he's
Yes.
always like wanted to, stay together and live together and everything. And so when he was matching for his second year of residency for psych pharmacy, I think he always knew. I always told him that I wanted to go to dental school in Boston. In my head, I always wanted to go to either BU or Tufts. Like I'm from the Northeast. These were just kind of like the two top schools to me.
Yeah.
Harvard was out of the question. I knew that already, but so I think he kind of always had that in the back of his head. He was like, I would like to match in Boston. So then he, tried and matched with the psych program at the VA hospital in Boston, which is a really good psych residency program for pharmacy. And then part of it is just like the stars aligned. I got into like my Boston schools and I was able to continue in Boston. And then, yeah, so we just moved in together and exciting times.
I saw that picture and like your this is the other thing about your when you write like your captions,
Hmm.
you were talking about the engagement. You're like, this looks like an engagement photo, which I thought was so funny. I did think it was fun too. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's where I learned a little bit about that. But you really write from the heart on
Oh, thank
a
you so
lot of
much.
which, like again, really brings people into like feeling you, knowing who you are and like where you're at. And I can appreciate that. I know how much time that takes. And I'm sure it's a little easier for you now because you're doing it virtually, which would free up time. That was kind of like me with quarantine, not being in people's
Right.
mouths too. Like, oh my gosh, it was dreamy, right? That's why I
Yeah,
built
yeah.
so many other kind of things and loved it and did more video too. But
Hmm.
but you think you were doing that obviously like way before when you were in school too, like when it was
Hmm.
normal and finding the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really see Instagram kind of as my outlet. I know that in today's day and age, it's like really easy to get caught up with like the numbers and the engagement and like all that kind of stuff. But what it comes down to is I just love like talking and interacting with you guys. It doesn't matter to me like how many people are out there really listening. It's just like having that conversation. And
Right.
so I feel like now like there's more and more influencers popping up. And so like the one thing that you can do to really be irreplaceable and to add value to people's lives is just to like be yourself and speak your truth. Cause like no one else can say that, no one else can replicate that.
Yes, no, 1,000,000,000%. And so many people, and you know, and I work with dentists that say, I can't do what you do. I am afraid, you know, with photos or things like that. And I'm like, just do you, you know,
I don't know how you do it though.
oh my gosh. And with my kids too, the three of them are all like, oh, followers. And I'm trying to let them know that that's like, that isn't what this is about. I don't, again, like blinders on. I don't look at that stuff. We know how difficult it is.
Mm-hmm.
Engagement, in order to get numbers up, you would have to like engage with everybody, which is hard. And we're
Yeah.
just this, like, people aren't going to naturally love us. You have a cool name, Pharma Dental, but
Thank
like,
you.
when I was the Dental Diaries for so long, I think that people are like, ooh, dental,
Yeah, I
Um,
know but you know what's great about your brand though is I feel like you really change people's impression of what dentistry is and like what it can be. Like you make dentistry seem so like exciting and like vibrant, even from the colors and photos you post. Like it's just so inspirational.
Thank you. That's really, really, like, that's huge because sometimes, you're doing your thing and, and I don't know, because I know, and you guys, I love it and get it. I'm so stuck with the ones that are a little bit older, and I'm trying to help them understand that there
Hmm.
are, your age group, all of the up and coming millennials and such that are going to be wanting to purchase practices. It's like you have to have your brand established, or like you have a practice
Right.
here and a practice, on the right, and a practice on the left, and one's got like their brand and their social media built out, and the other one is still like doing dip x-rays and has no people online. Like, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, right.
The other one, and I'm always just like, the train has left the station, you guys, like, let me help you, but embrace this, because it's like riding a bike, and if I can do it, they can do it too.
Hmm.
And or outsource it to someone on their team, but you
Right.
cannot neglect today. Yes, we're in healthcare, yes, we're dentists, but brand is still, it speaks volumes, and
Right.
people are making buying decisions. People don't need teeth. And at the end of the day, like I said, through me, I get more smile makeover people coming to me through Instagram because they feel like they
Hmm.
know me already through me
Right.
myself. And so that's just,
Yeah.
you just have to be yourself. Like I said, and like I said, people might just be shoppers, Instagram window shoppers for a long time. And then when they're ready to make the decision,
Yeah.
comes first, it's like, oh, boom,
Right, 100%. And like being yourself, being your brand is just so priceless because like there's so at the end of the day, you are who you are. You really can't change that. And like if you present your full authentic self to whoever, if they accept you, great. If they don't, at least you know that they rejected you or didn't, align with you because it was true to like who you are. Like I never want to be rejected or perceived as someone that I'm not, because then I feel like that's like a wasted opportunity.
right. Yeah. Which you
Yeah.
can never, like I said, I don't even know how people can do that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you have to, like I said, do you at the end of the day. Where I'm really struggling, actually, my real struggle right now is, and I was just doing, this online conference all weekend, which was amazing, especially when I was
Yeah.
on a virtual conference that had me that like excited and in the computer. It was insane.
That's so cool.
They still spent millions of dollars like doing it to make sure that happened. Uh,
Yeah.
it's so crazy. What was my point? I had a point with that. But is that the Facebook is what I took away from the weekend. So most dentists live not your age bracket, like your group,
Mhm.
but the dentist I'm trying to talk to, I live on Instagram. I'm a total Insta girl. I love Instagram. They live
Yes.
on Facebook, and I struggle with Facebook. I can't. It's messy. I can't find
Yeah.
things. I mean, I can't even find, like, when I get a notification. But in order to speak to them, like when I came out of the weekend, I'm like, God, I've got to show up more on Facebook. I've got to do lives on Facebook, and I would rather do a live on Instagram any day, all day, than have to be
100%.
there.
Yeah.
But if I want
Oh,
to help dentists, like, step over the line, then I'm gonna have to start doing it. So like this week, it's like my goal to step out of my comfort zone, if you will,
mhm.
and start
Yeah.
like lives every night on my success path to explain, like, you can go from a learner and not know anything, like, here,
Yeah.
membership, because I built it all out, literally, that anybody can jump in anywhere in the path, and
Mhm.
learn from that place, so they won't feel
Yeah.
behind, or ahead.
That's awesome. The thing is, you might learn that you might end up liking the Facebook too. Like the Facebook, I sound so old. But like, see, I'm like not really great with Facebook either. But what I love about social media is you kind of just have to try it out and see what sticks.
True.
Like maybe you still will not like Facebook and that's fine. But like you never know unless you like do it and try, you know?
It's so funny because like around our entire conversation that we've been talking about, I last night in my mind said the same thing. I said, you know what? You haven't even given a chance. Like you haven't even
Yeah.
over there. I said, you might really love it. And you know what? You just have to start showing up and producing content over there. And that's okay because I love content and so I can do that.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I'm just gonna step into it and it'll be something new and yeah, hopefully, like I said, it will stick, become sticky and we'll see because like I said, it's the only way I think to speak to other people in dentistry, um,
Hmm.
you know, to kind of get their attention. And again, like everything I do is solely heartfelt. Like I've never even done
Right.
dentistry for financial. Like I still don't even look in my practice at numbers,
Hmm.
which is amazing because again, when you are aligned and you're doing what you love, the universe just
Right.
provides. Like it just always will
That's
fall.
so amazing. This kind of reminds me of this one quote that I read from I don't know if you've heard of him, James Clear. He wrote the Atomic Habits, that book.
Uh-huh.
He's like a super inspirational like he has like this newsletter that I subscribe to, but he made this post sort of about like posting creatively and stuff like that. Someone said it's really like not up to you to determine if your quality if your posts are good quality or not. It's like it's up to you to create, and that is it. It's your job to create and put it out there. Let other people judge and like think if it's good or not, but like if you don't put it out there, there's nothing for them to even see. So
Right.
like you showing up on Facebook is like so huge because even though you might think like, oh, like what good is this going to do or whatever, like you never know. It's not up to you to decide if it's good or not. It's
Let
up
me
to you to
tell
post
you,
to Facebook.
girl, I will be so real today when I pop on there and be like, all right, y'all, like, this is not my place, right? Like, I haven't been over here, but I'm going to start showing up here every day. But like, it's going to be messy. But to your point that you said earlier, too, like, people like messy and they show up to that
Hmm.
because you
Yeah.
don't necessarily know what you're doing. And there's going to be those like little, blips, like where you're stumbling over, especially
Yeah.
with lives. A lot of times those will show up, you know.
That's powerful though. That's part of it. Like I want to I'm you know what I would click out so much faster is someone that's like reading a script or someone that I don't feel like they're there with me.
Right.
So like even your stumbles or ums or whatever comes your way, like that is part of what makes it a good experience.
Right. And speaking like you do on YouTube, I mean, it's one thing when we show up on Instagram, but I think for someone to connect with you like this, like one on one, like hear your voice and pull that through, which is what lives do, which is so important. That's
Hmm.
what my Instagram stories. I always try to pop in there and talk because, like I said, otherwise that pulls people into your soul a little bit, knowing that
Yeah.
you're that person. So with my Facebook group, it's been crickets because I see why there's not going to be engagement, right? When there's just writing and it's boring, 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 so it's
Hmm.
time to stir things up a little bit. And now, like I said, and for people out there too, it's like focus on one thing and the thing you love, and then get
Hmm.
that really flowing. So like where Instagram is so easy for me. I actually
Yeah.
stop making accounts. I just started this fitness thing, and all these other people. I'm like, let's all just jump in the Instagram. I have an Instagram handle that Dr. Fit Jess instead of fitness fit Jess.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's so
I
funny.
didn't want to get everyone confused. I'm like, my gosh, I have so many that I'm putting content up, and I don't want everyone that does follow multiple accounts, even though it's different content, to be like, oh my god,
Hmm.
not already.
No, it could never be too much. I'm gonna go follow that right away, right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, the thing is, so I haven't done anything with it, but the girls that are on it, I said, listen, let's all accountability is everything. And,
Mhm.
I'm stepping back in. So like who's on board with me? And the ones that yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring them in and like send me a pic and then I'm gonna put it in. So like I'd showcase all of us on
That's so cute. I love that idea so much.
there.
Oh, see, that is what social media is about. It's just like connecting and sharing, not about like worrying about filters or feeds or anything like that. It's just like, it's just part of like the fun and connecting.
Right, totally. Which is, like I said, what I love it more than anything. I mean, I love
Yeah.
everything like I'm doing anyway, but
You can tell. It really shows through your work.
my gosh, thank you. And you too. Like I said, your work is amazing. I love absolutely everything that you are doing. Can you let everybody know where to find you um, that are listening?
Yeah, sure. So I basically show up every day. I'm pretty annoying probably on my Instagram, at the Pharma
No.
Dental. So I post like a lot on there, like usually on my stories, but also my posts. And you guys get to follow along on my life as a dental student and Cocoa Floss intern and pharmacist and all that stuff. But then I also have my YouTube channel. It's the same name at the Pharma Dental, and I love to post vlogs on there, other, sort of content. It's kind of just like an extension of what I have on Instagram, just like longer videos basically. But yeah, it would mean a lot if you guys followed me on those, and I love connecting with you guys. So feel free to reach out. And yeah.
Love it. So that is The Pharma Dental on Instagram and YouTube. She is absolutely amazing. Like I said, set aside some time because you're gonna go down the rabbit hole like I have. So much
Oh,
fun. And I'm so incredibly appreciative and grateful for you being here with me today. Another, like I said, Tufts, my alma mater, love it. And
hmm,
I'm wishing you all the best with your success, and we'll continue certainly to follow along
yes,
in your amazing journey.
definitely. Thank you so much for having me. It means so much, especially like as a listener. So it's really cool now being here. And as a dental student. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak with you.
I love it. All right. Until next time, thank you so much for being here. Everyone follow her, Dr. Connie Wang. Again, her handle is The Pharma Dental.